Doctrine of karma, law of causation. The phenomena of the world are linked together in the chain of cause and effect. Everything has a definite cause behind it. The law of cause and effect is the most universal of all laws. It is the only law which governs all phenomena. Every event is the effect of some invisible force. Every action is conditioned by the law of causation, the law of karma. The word karma includes both the cause and the effect. It is our own karma that produces joy or sorrow, pleasure or pain. Our present character is determined by the past. Reward and punishment are the reaction of our own mental and physical action. A man may reap the results of compensation for his work, either in this life or after. Law of retribution. Every good act brings its own reward by the law of compensation. Evil acts bring its own punishment by the law of retribution. Action and reaction are like the flower and its fruit. The law of retribution brings its reward first in the inner nature and then in the external. Virtue, wisdom, truth, and love proceed from God. They are spiritual qualities. Activity of mind and body is the condition of life. What is the real duty of life? What the Bible, Quran say about it? The word duty is an abstract term. Any action which directs us Godward is good. To be unselfish is our sole duty. The examples of Jesus, the Christ, and the Buddha. The love or feeling of oneness makes a man rise above all duties. We should no longer work through attachment to the fruits of our labor. The one universal energy is manifesting through the universe. Heart refers to the feeling. The mind includes lot of other activities and function. The heart and the mind are not the same thing, according to Vedanta philosophy. Impressions are the causes of future desires. The mind is like a mirror. Impression or desires will not die out unless they are forced out. Impressions or desires remain in the subconscious mind. Impressions are obstacles in the path of realization. Purification of the heart is necessary. We can reduce the number of desires by discrimination. No one can remain absolutely inactive even for a moment. Propelled by the power of nature, one is forced to work. Therefore, always perform actions which are obligatory without attachment. By performing action without attachment, one attains to the highest. Law of causation. A careful study of nature shows to us that the phenomena of the world are linked together in the universal chain of cause and effect. No event can occur without having a definite cause behind it. Whatever we see, hear, or perceive with our senses is but the effect of some cause, whether known or unknown. To trace the causes of events and to become familiar with the conditions under which an effect is produced have always been the aim of the various branches of science and philosophy. All science and all philosophies of the world declare that the law of cause and effect is the most universal of all laws. It is the one law which governs all phenomena, however gross or fine they may be. Here is an example. A murderer shoots the Austrian archduke and drives a bullet into his body, and the archduke dies of blood poisoning. Here, shooting is an action which is the effect of the mental and physical activities of the murderer. But the same action is again the cause of driving the bullet in the archduke's body. This is the cause of the wound, which brings fever and their organic disorder, which results in the death. The death of the archduke causes his wife to become a widow, which produces changes in her life and in her whole family. The effect of this single act of murder did not stop here. It brought on the European war and caused destruction of life and property of millions and affected the whole world. It is needless to describe the horrors of the last war. The German emperor lost his throne and empire. People are still reaping the effect of this war, which will last for generations to come. Furthermore, it reacted upon the murderer brought to him incausable misery and ultimately death. It left an impression upon his mind which he carried with him, and perhaps his suffering will continue even after his death in another life. Thus, we can see how one event can be both a cause and an effect at the same time, and how it can affect the whole world, producing various kinds of effects on the plane of the living as also on that of the dead. In the same manner, it can be shown that every action, however minute it may appear to us, being conditioned by the universal law of causation, produces different effects, visible and invisible, and affects the whole world of phenomena either directly or indirectly. No action can escape this law, that every cause must be followed by an effect, that every action is bound to react upon the actor with similar force and effect. The universal law of causation is called in Sanskrit the law of karma. Under the sway of this all pervading law of karma, there is no room left for chance or accident. What we call happening by chance or accidental is in reality the product of some definite causes which may not know or cannot trace on account of our limited knowledge. The causes might be on the moral or spiritual planes, but we seek only the physical plane. Wherever there is perfect harmony, peace, happiness, there is the result of good acts. And whenever discord, disease, suffering, pain, misery, injury, unhappiness, there is to be found the violation of the laws of health, of life as well as of the moral laws. Consequently, there is evil. Law of action and reaction. If I strike a blow on the table will react upon me with similar force. If I strike harder, I shall receive harder blow in return. Motives, desires, thoughts, and other mental functions, being subject to the same law, produce good, bad, or mixed results according to the nature of those mental activities. It is our own karma that produces its result in the form of joy or sorrow, pleasure or pain, happiness or unhappiness. If we can once understand that each individual soul reaps the results of its acts and deeds, every effect is measured by its cause. He who obeys the law of karma is more moral and more virtuous. Every wrong action will sooner or later react upon himself and will make him unhappy and miserable. He performed good deeds for the reason that they will bring good reaction in the form of happiness, peace, tranquility, and higher enlightenment. Our present is the result of our past, and our future will be the result of our present thoughts and deeds. When a robber robs another, he robs himself first. He who cheats another is in reality cheating himself. Every action reacts and brings its own reward or punishment first in the inner nature or soul, and then in the external circumstances in the form of gain or loss, prosperity or adversity, health or disease. We have to pay the penalty for wrongdoing. Virtue, wisdom, truth, and love are real good. They proceed from God, and therefore no one pays penalty for practicing them. They are spiritual qualities. The more we practice them, the more they increase. He who seeks material good must pay taxes, but there is no tax on spiritual good. The law of karma teaches that the virtuous reward themselves and the sinner punish themselves by their own thoughts and deeds. Emerson says, every act rewards itself first in our own soul, then in circumstances. Good people hesitate to commit wicked deeds and struggle hard to live virtuous life, simply fearing the eternal law of karma. We create by our actions the causes of good and evil and receive reward or punishment as the reaction of our thoughts and deeds by the law of compensation. No human being can live without performing some kind of work, either mental or physical. It seeks through its teachings to show how this constant output of energy may be utilized to acquire the greatest spiritual enlightenment and to attain to perfection and absolute freedom. This world may be compared to a gigantic stage where the drama of life is constantly going on. Individual souls are the actors. They play the parts for which they are best fitted. Their desires, tendencies, and capacities determining their acts. One take the part of a president, of a king, a governor, or prince. Another that of merchant or lawyer, a third that of husband, a fourth that of mother, but each without exception plays his role day after day and night after night, contributing either consciously or unconsciously to the vast drama called life, with its various acts and scenes, some tragic, some melodramatic. The large majority of mankind, however, don't realize that they are thus acting on the stage of the world. They have forgotten that they themselves have selected the roles, that by their own choice they have assumed these characters. The cause of all these different parts which the individual souls are playing lies within the actors and actresses themselves and not outside of them. Each of our action produce some results. Every action is followed by a corresponding reaction, which returns to the point from which it started. Hence, the reaction of each action must come back to the soul itself and influence the doer. If the action be good, the reaction will be good. If the action be evil, the reaction will be evil. The law of action and reaction, or of cause and effect, is called in Sanskrit karma. Our present is the result of our past, and our future must be the result of our present. What proof is there that we have had a past and that we shall have a future? The proof is our present condition. And this can be determined scientifically by the law of cause and sequence. In this wheel of action and reaction, each individual soul is passing from one point to another, on and on, age after age. But is it likely that the law of cause and effect, of action and reaction, will cease to function because these ignorant people do not understand and believe it? No. Whether we believe it or not, it will continue to produce its results, just as the law of gravity operates, whether a man observes or disregards it. We have seen that all the causes of our action are the motives or desires which lie within ourselves. So long as these desires are there, we are forced to work and reap the fruit of our labor. In everyday life, each individual is constantly performing some kind of work from some motive. Some work for money, some for name and fame, some work in the hope of attaining heavens. A certain number acquire immense wealth through their labors and imagine that by accumulating of riches they are fulfilling the purpose of life. But if this were true, these people would be perfectly happy and content. Yet, when their storehouses are full, they still reach out for the peace and happiness which their wealth cannot bring them. Such motives all proceed from selfishness, and so long as we foster them, we must reap the results of our desires, remain attached to them, and continue to be fettered by the chain of cause and effects. All work done through selfish motives behind the soul to the fruits thereof, and is in consequence a cause of bondage. If, however, we can once reach the point of working without having desire for results, without seeking any return, then the law of karma will be broken and freedom will be ours. How can we do this? By working for work's sake and not to fulfill selfish desires. He who performs his duty, understanding the secret of work, rises above good and evil. Activity of mind and body is the condition of life. Absolute inactivity means death.